together the public safety meeting for Oswego County today at the community college showcase our new police academy. Everybody stand for the pledge. Started. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so I want to welcome the mayor, please give Oswego. Glad you can make it. A couple of my students back there have tagged along to see notified. So they're here for the meeting as well. So let's, anybody, I need the minutes. Anybody get an opportunity to read the minutes? I hope everybody did. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second? Any corrections, any errors, improvements? No? Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Set. PS1, resolution authorizing budgetary modification, Sheriff's Office, transfer of insurance, recovery, Treasurer's Office, to automotive supplies and repairs, Road Division. Just another insurance thing. We're not going to get into this. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion. Can I get a second? Got multiple seconds. It's about $7,200 that they're going to put back into their fleet. Any questions on this?
Nope.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. PS2, resolution authorizing the execution of an amended intermunicipal agreement with the County of Onondaga Department of Emergency Management, Web EOC. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
A second? A second? You're up, buddy.
Yep, it's an extension of a previously existing 3-year intermunicipal agreement that gives us access to an online emergency management platform that we use, that we share with Onondaga County. There was a slight price increase year over year, but however, there's no financial impact to us because it's grant funded.
Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. PS3, resolution authorizing the execution of a memorandum of understanding with the New York State Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Services, Flood Mitigation Equipment, Department of Emergency Management. Making a motion. Motion, got a second? You're up again, buddy.
All right, so this was an initiative from the state through the Division of Homeland Security Emergency Services down to local emergency management offices, that they took the most frequently requested resources from flooding incidents, because that's our biggest hazard, and they received financial assistance to purchase this equipment and then give it to counties with the asterisk of the state retains ownership, but we get possession of the equipment. We did receive what we were told was the highest quantity of these resources given our susceptibility to flooding, both with Lake Ontario and the incidents in the past. So there is a list. It's the last page of the part of the packet with this. So what we would have to do is just we would be responsible for the maintenance, and we can deploy the resources as we feel is needed. And then anything, yeah, that basically summarizes it. And if anyone has any questions, let me know.
All right, just for the record, so people understand what we're talking about. We're talking about pumps,
Yep,
generators, accessories, chainsaws,
Yeah.
light towers, things of that nature, right?
Yep.
Any questions? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, PS4, moving on. Another resolution authorizing budgetary modification, Sheriff's Office, transfer from insurance recovery, Treasurer's Office, to automotive supply and repairs, another accident, about $10,000. Can I get a motion? Motion, you got a second? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we have a bid on here. Also emergency management, preventive maintenance, and inspection of generator. Oh, that's you? Okay. Want to go over that quick?
Yeah, actually, because there is a change on there. I actually suggested after review of the responses to not go with the lowest fixed price due to a significantly different price in the time and material rates between the lowest bidder and one of the secondary bidders that's in there. So I'm actually suggesting to go with Craft Power due to the difference of $70 per hour straight time for time and material and $2 an hour in overtime rate differences. So on average, over the past few years, we've had about 60 hours of time and material. So that's actually going to end up being about a $2,500 savings due to the reduced time and material rate that we see on average just at straight time, not even going into the overtime hours, which a large majority of those were overtime hours, but to go with one that the fixed rates are a little bit more expensive.
Bill, do I need a motion to amend this? It's a bid. All right, so can I get a motion to amend the bid?
Motion.
Acceptance? Motion, can I get a second?
Second.
Second. All right, any discussion? Any questions, any problems, any issues? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Carries, back to the original, approve the bid, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, good to approve. All right, let's go on to department head reporting. Nate, where are you? I saw your, there you go.
Good morning, everyone. In the EMS world, our advanced EMT class wraps up on Sunday, so done last week. First time running the class of that nature, went very well. We're expecting to graduate 9 of the original 11 and 1 of the original 1 selectors, so pretty good attrition rate on the class. We're looking for some additional EMS classes in the spring. There'll probably be a handful of EMT class opportunities coming up, TBD, but hopefully not shortly, working with some instructors right now. Continue to offer stop bleed, if anyone is interested in that training. Working with Tyler and the rest of the EMO staff on MCI plan update, hopefully more on that soon. Attended the NYSEMA annual conference with the EMO staff, and I participated at the CSI TAM team workshop. Other than that, unless anyone has any questions, for the highlights.
Any questions for Nate? Hearing none? Emergency management, you're up.
So really quickly, the hazard mitigation plan is in the final stages of being approved. Like Nate had touched on, we're working on finalizing the update to the county mass casualty incident plan. That's been a lot of work from a lot of different people, and we like the direction that it's headed. I'm going to touch on this, but there'll be more information after I finish the report. There's a bullet point here that we monitored conditions and provided municipal assistance during the Valentine's Day weekend weather event. That has clearly blossomed into much more than just that. And like I said, I've got some more stuff that I'm going to talk about after I get through a couple more bullet points. Our staff also attended the New York State Emergency Management Association conference in early February, where we were officially recognized for achieving the state accreditation. So big kudos to the staff at the Emergency Management Office on that, as well as all of our partners that have been part of that. We are in works of developing a emergency management local officials training that is a little bit more than what the state can provide from the trainings that we can offer from them, to give the people that attend that a little bit more actionable information and insight into their specific roles during larger emergencies. So again, more to come on that, but that's definitely a priority from our office. For the radiological wise, at the tail end of the NYSEMA conference, Kathy had coordinated and executed very well a training session for any of the counties and their partners within the 50 miles of the nuclear plants, with the thought of if something were to happen at the plants, there's a lot more that extends beyond the 10-mile that we are normally trained to work with. So we want to make sure that all those counties that could be impacted by that with a 50-mile radius had at least a base understanding of what the expectations of them would be given an incident there. So some information in here on the drone, the drone program, but one thing I did want to also draw everybody's attention to is the Lake Ontario water levels, with that caveat being, I'm going to talk about that in a second. They are lower than they were at this point last year, but that is something we're actively going to be monitoring. So I want to touch on a little bit the snowstorm stuff. It's been very much a very impactful snowstorm. We at the Emergency Management Office and some of the organizations that have been supporting us at the EOC, we've had the EOC activated in a either virtual or partial in-person capacity for the past 17 days. We do anticipate at least keeping that activated through tomorrow as we work through a lot of the challenges that have been identified. One question that we have gotten a lot is what kind of assistance is going to be available. At this point, given our conversations with the state, we don't think that a federal disaster declaration is going to happen. That is because of how snow is treated as an emergency at the federal level when it comes to declarations. What we have had discussions with is regarding, and we're working through logistics of collecting this data and putting it out to the public, the potential for a small business administration declaration, and what that is it is not necessarily money that is available, but that would be very low interest loans for uninsured either businesses, homeowners, or also the agriculture community, that they can take out those loans and perform the emergency work that needs to be done on the structures. So more information to come on that. We're working through some of the logistics, and as that comes out, we will keep you guys all informed on that. We do still have a decent need for some snow removal assistance with our vulnerable population in the county. So that is something we are exploring a bunch of different avenues to try and get those people the assistance that they need. We have been working with the health department and the 211 service to collect that information from them. And as some of you may have seen with the news release, we had Team Rubicon in through Saturday. And just the team alone with a small deployment of, I believe, give or take 7 to 8 members, some were able to do more days than others. They were able to take care of 31 houses in their 3-day deployment, which it may not seem like a lot, but that is a lot of work we're trying to normal. But we are extremely grateful for the assistance they've been provided. Like I said, we're exploring as many avenues as we can between volunteer organizations and other ways that we know might be able to support us. And then one thing I did want to touch on was just some information on the snow itself. From the February 14th through the 19th, the highest snowfall amount that was reported in the county was 79 inches in Palermo. That is very significant given 2 days of that that time frame it was not snowing. So that was a lot, and yeah, like I said, we've been very, very engaged in this with a lot of our partners and sharing information. And if anyone has any questions on that kind of stuff or anything I've talked about, I'm happy to do my best to answer them.
Thank you. Any questions? Mr. Castillo.
First, I want to, thank the EMO for their assistance when it was called for. There's tons of questions coming from Fulton, and you know that. Okay. One of the questions is, with the state declaring or the county declaring state of emergency, would that affect a municipality like the city of Fulton,
Yep.
city of Oswego? In that sense, because first words out of their mouths is, well, we're in the county, so why doesn't it affect us?
So local state of emergencies beyond the county, or even including the county, but the local officials can be declared for a few different reasons, for a few different purposes. The first being to be able to implement any restrictions. So a travel advisory does not need a state of emergency, but if they were to do a travel ban or a parking ban or something like that on an emergency basis, having a state of emergency in place allows them to do the emergency orders that they need in order to issue those restrictions. And even if it's something as far as suspending their local procurement rules so they can execute emergency purchases, that's entirely up to that organization and that municipality and how they do that. But that gives them the authority they need to on the emergency basis. The other, which is very much covered when we talk about a countywide one, is the sharing of resources. There's a system that exists, it's called the Interstate Mutual Aid Program, or IMAP for short, and what that is it allows counties that have declared a state of emergency to a lot easier request resources from other counties. It facilitates that, having a state of emergency in place. So with that being said, there are instances where if a local municipality had specific emergency orders they wanted to issue, they would need a state of emergency in place to do that at their level. But if there isn't, and it was just for the resource sharing component of it, that would be covered under the county state of emergency declaration. Did that answer your question?
Somewhat. You've got two different issues. You've got the snow removal after the storm, but it's the issue during the storm that is one of the, two. You get both issues are very large in the city of Fulton, okay? Which I represent the whole east side, okay? Now, was there a plan in effect that was put into effect as to handling that amount of snow in that short period of time with the the manpower that was available? Because if you said, if it was if there was a possibility for any resources outside the city, the county would be able to help that. Is that, I kind of understood that's what you said, that if, you know, if there isn't a state of emergency in the city of Fulton, if they only have a snow emergency, they haven't declared a state of emergency. The state of emergency from the county would say that there's resources available that you could get from the county. Is that fact or fiction?
So I will say that, you know, regardless of the presence of a state of emergency, if there's a municipality that needs resources and support on an emergency basis, there doesn't have to be a state of emergency in place for them to request that assistance. So I wanted to address that. Our ability at the emergency management and countywide to provide assistance to municipalities is not restricted to just times where there is a state of emergency in place. You mentioned something about, you know, is there a plan for, you know, the response to something like this if there was this amount of snow that falls? If you're asking about within the city of Fulton, I would defer you to the city of Fulton specifically to discuss if they have a plan. We at the county level in emergency management do have a severe winter weather plan that we have been following very closely as we've responded to this. So, but I think that you had a couple different questions that you asked there. So can I just ask you if there's any that I didn't answer? Can you just
No,
specifically highlight them?
you're covering everything very well. You know, the point is that if a municipality, you know, no matter where it is, okay, and I'm not talking, let's just not talk about Fulton, let's talk about the whole county.
Yep.
If you have a need, the request has to come in to you guys in order for you to know that there's a need there and they're requesting you for help.
Yes, so
Okay.
the way that it works is we do encourage them to reach out to maybe some neighboring municipalities that may not have been impacted. So, and these are the types of requests that we had been fielding a lot over the past 17 days. You know, we encourage them to reach out to their neighboring municipalities, see, because just it's strictly based on a timeline. If it's just over your municipal border and they can help you, that's going to get you the resources you need a lot faster. But we do say, you know, if your resources are exhausted and you need some sort of assistance, whether that's, you know, information or resources, and you don't know how to get those in emergency, call us, and that's, you know, that's our job to get those resources. And, you know, like you said, outside of the city of Fulton, we did receive requests from a bunch of municipalities, and that actually was helpful because it helped us identify the areas that were heaviest hit from the snowstorm. And with the additional data collection from the structural collapses and some of the requests for assistance, it was helpful. We were able to really identify that central swath of the county that was impacted the most. So, you know, as we got that information, one, we were able to provide as much assistance as we could, and if that was not something that the county could support, you know, that is when we then reach out to New York State to see if any state agencies have the ability to support that as well. So did that.
That you're answering the questions very well. I want to thank you again for the support that you gave us, and
That's what we're here for.
hopefully we don't have to go through it again, that we'll have something in place to make sure everything acts as possible.
Yep,
But thank you very much.
we're
You did
here
an
to help
excellent
in any
job.
way we can.
Excellent job, thank you.
Mr. Church?
Tyler, thank you first for keeping myself and the chairman up to date, sending situation reports daily. Where are we now on the number of structural collapses in this county?
As far as what has been reported to 911, I believe the last count was 63. I will say I did a tour with the State Office of Emergency Management Deputy Director on Friday, and in the short tour that we took, I noticed a lot more structures that had not been reported to 911, whether they were garages or barns or, you know, structures that just didn't make that list. So I would absolutely say that there's more than that 63 number that has been reported.
And I know you're also monitoring calls for assistance. Is there still an outstanding?
There is still an unmet need with our vulnerable populations with that, absolutely.
The snow removal,
Yes.
either from roofs or from driveways?
Roofs, driveways, emergency egress from their homes. You know, as we've been working, we're trying to get as much assistance as we possibly can, but there's absolutely a need. Those call centers are still active at this point, so I can't get you the actual number at this the specific moment, but there's absolutely a significant need for that.
And I just want to say, you and your team and the other supporting departments like sheriffs and fire and everyone done a great job. I know you're tired, you've been on this for 2 weeks. And we did get some help from the outside. As you mentioned, Team Rubicon came in to help us clear snow, but it wasn't enough. There's a volunteer organization called VOAD came in as well. And
So
they did great work, but again, we still have this need. We did make some request, and the state DOT has responded.
yes,
And
I
a couple of state agencies.
I would love to create a list of all of the agencies that have supported us with this,
Right.
but there's so many that
Right.
it's been fantastic, the amount of support that we've gotten.
The real problem in this has been snow removal, and the county nor the state is legally able to go on private property and shovel people's roofs and driveways. So the volunteer organization, the other organizations were important to that. So just so you know, we did make requests. While I was at NISAC, I met with the governor's chief of staff and asked for additional assistance. We did ask for National Guard, but it was denied. I think our local response, the response we got from our neighbors was terrific. We got some help from the state. I just wish there had been more, particularly since we still have a vulnerable population out there who's waiting for medical and food and snow removal. Good job to you guys.
Thank you. One thing I did want to piggyback off of that you did mention, and I lost it, so.
Happens to me all the time.
You think of it, you can chime in. Any other questions? Herb?
No, I just wanted to tell you that I represent the East, Williamstown, and they got pounded.
I made sure to highlight that on my trip with the state emergency management deputy director. Williamstown was my end point on that trip because I wanted them to see just how impacted that community is.
But there was a lot of citizens from your department up there. I know the town supervisor calling you on a daily basis up there. I think the concept, people think there's a secret workforce we got out here that we can run out and shovel buildings. The county can. I explained to them all out there, they're all private. We can't get on private property.
Yeah.
So they understand that, but the work you did was very good, and I think they're pretty happy out on the east side.
Yeah, and I understand that people are happy, and I do want to acknowledge that the team at Emergency Management and our partners have done a phenomenal job with that. But there's unfortunately there's still more that needs to be done because there are still the people that need the assistance. And one thing that we've tried to highlight in a lot of the public information that's coming out is really that need to check on your neighbors. It's something as simple as popping over to your neighbor's house and just checking to see if they're okay. Can do a whole lot because one, for their own mental health, you're making sure, letting them know there's somebody that cares about them. That's extremely important. But the other part of that is if you check on your neighbors, maybe you can see that they ran out of propane and they've been heating their house with their oven, their electric oven. If somebody checks on them and they identify that and they can maybe get them some assistance, you may have prevented a house fire and potentially an injury fatality. So we really have been trying to push. We know there's a need. We're doing our best to help everybody that we can. But really checking on your neighbors is something that we really, want to encourage the community to keep doing.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Are you still in contact then with the volunteers so that if you get calls that you're able to send them out?
So the team with Team Rubicon, they were here through Saturday afternoon. So we are, like I said, we're working a bunch of different avenues to try and get some additional assistance in right now.
Okay, thank you.
So I would like to, on behalf of this entire community, to thank all of our highway departments, both the county, the town, the villages, the cities. These guys put in countless hours along with our emergency responders, FD, PD, emergency management office, and all the volunteers, thousands of volunteers, hundreds of volunteers that came out and helped out. It's just been a tough battle that we fought, right? With the snow, it's been crazy. I had no place else in my house to push the snow, So I think we were all fighting. So good
Still
job,
going.
kudos.
Yes.
And
Mark, can I
appreciate
mention-
all of our.
Can I mention one last thing?
Sure.
Just one thing I want to put on everybody's radar. We saw this last week when the temperatures increased. We saw an increase in collapses reported. We are expecting to see a a warming trend over the next few days, and then about an inch of rainfall, which may not sound like a lot, but that is a lot. So we're anticipating, some additional challenges that would come with that, and also some potential for some flooding happening as well. So something we definitely want to make sure everybody has on the radar with that. Especially because even if we get down to grass, the ground's still frozen, it's not going to take in any water. So there's not a whole lot of places for that water to go right now.
Any other questions? All right, 911, Kevin, you're up.
So I didn't get a chance to turn in the monthly report. I was right in the middle of the storm, so just hitting on some high-level stuff. CSI-wise, CRG mapping, most of the schools are completed at this point. CCC, I know, is one that's outstanding that they're working on, and they are working their way across the county building. So I think maybe next month, if I can grab a couple extra minutes, we'll see. I can show you guys a couple of the demonstrations of those maps that are being put together for us. Coming out excellent. It's exactly what we were hoping for, and the integration into everybody else's systems now will be the next phase of that. So the advanced telecommunicator position, we've been working through the policies and procedures in the center. We have those kind of internally set. So we'll be rolling those out to the end user agencies for their input, feedback, make sure that we're meeting those needs. The fire service, we've started having some discussions and did a brief presentation at some of the battalion meetings that are occurring. So moving those along. Drone first responder piece, we've got some of the networking issues resolved. During the snow, definitely was an issue. It was something that wasn't clearing itself, so the Fulton Fire jumped right up there when they had the opportunity and got that cleared off for us. So we were able to assist in the city of Fulton with some evaluations of some buildings and stuff when the chief came down. So we were able to leverage that during the event after they assisted us with doing that. So beyond that, was at NISAC and picked up some pretty good things there. Had some good discussions on some of our issues that we had, talking about next gen 911 and stuff like that offline. So along with everybody else, we were extremely busy, and I do want to make sure that I pat my team on the back for a lot of our people, when residents weren't able to get out of their driveways, they dug themselves out in order to be able to get to the 911 center to be able to answer the calls. So that was, some of them went through some pretty amazing feats to be able to get to work, and they've got some good stories. So, we did not, we didn't have to force anybody into overtime. We were able to work our way through it, which is, not expected during an event like that. It is expected to, you have the crew that's there is working, is nobody else is going to be able to come and replace you, and you just keep working until you can't anymore. So we did not have that. So.
And again, kudos to the highway department, because nobody can get to work
100%.
without it, right?
Yep.
All right, any questions for Kevin? Mr. Castillo.
Kevin, one, I always support, you guys do an awesome job out there, a lot of information. But recently, there was a power outage in the city of Fulton. How do you get information about that? Because I called, and the person I got said, yeah, there's a power outage, but we don't know anything other than that. How would that be alleviated? So that somebody would, somebody called, the first thing they do is they call 911. Well, what's wrong?
So we did, we were alerted that there was a power outage at our Fulton Water Tower site. I don't know, I don't think we got any alarms, because I don't think it affected the EOC, did it?
It did not.
Okay, because I was going to say, we didn't get any alarming from the Fulton office building that came through, but our tower site, we were aware that we were running off a backup generator. And beyond that, outside of checking the public National Grid outage maps and stuff, that's about the best bet that we have, but we know that wasn't necessarily 100% accurate, because there were sections that we could confirm with the DFR drone that had power, and the traffic lights and stuff were working in those particular areas that the National Grid maps that were out of power.
But they don't contact you to let you know.
No, they did not.
Because people say, well, why didn't they know? Why didn't
Yeah.
How am I supposed to know if I can call 911? They don't know.
We're still at a point that if we have a interface that we need to have with them, we can pick up the phone and we can call their main dispatch center and provide them with information, but they're still looking for us to provide faxes with the detailed information when we have an emergency. We may call and get him a head start, but they're still looking for that PAX to follow that up.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions? There you go, let's move on. Our district attorney is preoccupied today. He's got some serious stuff going on. The sheriff just left, but John, do you have anything for us?
Sheriff did leave, didn't have much, he just mentioned, I guess when we go next door, we'll see, there's a correction academy in progress, started about 4 weeks ago. It ends on May 2nd, I think there's about 15 candidate recruits in that class. And then we've got a patrol academy starting also here, probably, I believe April 7th with 30 to 35.
Is that 15 all ours?
I think there's one from Madison County.
That's pretty good then if we're getting 14.
I think, I'm not sure of those numbers.
Yeah, it's still pretty good from
Yeah,
what we
it's a
can go
decent
to.
class. I think it was good having them here first. If there's anything that was missing or working out the kinks,
Right.
it was more of a local group. So, all the issues that may have came up the last 2-3 weeks.
We can get sorted before the other.
Ready for the patrol academy to come in, a much bigger group.
Thank you. Any questions for the sheriff? Moving on, probation, Dave? Thank you.
Thanks, good morning. We actually do have one officer participating in the academy next door. We had two, one, she wasn't able to continue, so we do have one in the class. We have an Alternatives to Incarceration Advisory Board meeting next Thursday on the 13th at my office. And the only other thing I was gonna mention, and I don't know if I mentioned it last meeting, but the New York State Highway Safety Symposium is actually in Oswego in October, so I don't know if anyone's interested in attending that, but it's from the 14th to the 17th. It's kind of neat that it's here. The travel's around the state. It's been in Lake Placid generally the last couple years, I think, so it's at the convention center this year. It's a lot of good information.
October.
Oh,
October 14th to the 17th.
Thank you. Any questions for Dave? Hearing none. Okay, moving on. Shane, fire.
Quick and easy, 39 incidences for the month of January with 12 structure fires, 7 hazmat, 9 fire investigations, 6 no responses, and 5 other. This time is our slow time at the school, but we're still, we had 23 classes taught with 210 students and 139 hours of training. The other thing is the Battalion 4 meeting that's on the sheet got canceled due to one of my staff being ill and not being able to make it. I'm not going to go through, unless you want me to go through it,
No.
the special report, and if anybody's got any questions.
Any questions? Hearing none. Moving on. I see search and rescue here today.
Yes,
How are you?
thanks for having us. 7 calls so far for the year. Really, just a couple things noteworthy. We're going to participate in a mock search down in Boone County, which is going to be directed by the Forest Rangers, Region 7, which is our region. And then 3 weeks after that, we also have another mock search planned at Verona Beach State Park. And so we're going east a little bit to train with 4 to 5 other Federation teams. Lower Adirondack Search and Rescue, Massasauga from Monroe County, Hudson Mohawk, and Boonville Search and Rescue. And these are all teams that have supported us when we've had a large search in our county, and we want to keep that relationship going. So
Terrific.
that's pretty much it.
Any questions for search and rescue? Hearing none. Okay, any other business? Mr. Castillo?
Well, you've got the financial reports here, and I'm looking over the traffic diversion program. I'm looking at that, $600,000. Is that total, or is that just the county share? Anybody?
The district attorney is not here to answer that question, nor is the treasurer.
I know what sure is the total.
I sent out the totals.
Veronica, you got an answer?
Well, it's gonna be the total, because the money gets all put into one pool, and then they do the budget modification and the resolution so that comes in first, and then the resolution gets done to move it.
So out of that, it's split, and how much are the towns and villages going to get, what portion are they going to get?
I couldn't tell you that off the top of my head, if I was at the office.
formula that was
It's
passed.
about
Right.
It's about a third.
It's a third.
Third, Herb, are you guys happy with it up there with the diversionary program?
No.
Okay, well, I didn't think so, that's why I'm asking the questions now, as to what, we said we were gonna look at this again after a certain number of months, and I think the certain number of months is up, and are we, content with it, or are we gonna keep going with it? I mean, it's a rich man's way of getting out of a ticket, and it hurts towns and villages and the cities with their, with their share. So, I mean,
think in order to give it a fair assessment, frankly, we gotta wait for a year to go by, right? So
we didn't
can
say
give-
that at
just
the beginning,
guess.
sir. We said we were gonna look at it after a few months.
I don't recollect that,
Well,
but I remember we would revisit it if it was a substantial loss to the towns, we would take another look at it. I don't think you can base that analysis on a couple of months. I think we gotta give it a full year and compare year-to-year analysis. It's kinda hard to do on a month-to-month basis. And again, it's hard to, you can't make a decision like this based on a couple of months. There's just not enough data available.
I think it's only been 3 months, Frank.
Yeah, right, but my point is that towns and villages and the cities, okay, their budgets are looking at, do they have money enough coming in and to sustain them? That's what you have to look at. You wait a year, that could put, one or two of Herb's towns or, villages, into a situation where they don't have any means to do anything. So I don't think that we should wait a year to say whether this program is working or not working. We have to know from the towns and villages and the cities, how much money are we losing by doing that, okay? That's my
Well,
point.
it's hard to make that
Sorry.
determination based on a couple of months. We need a full year analysis to decide whether or not the system in place is sufficient enough to cover the costs of the courts in those towns. You can't base a decision on irrelevant data or insufficient data. Yes.
Well, the way it's set up, and there's nothing wrong with the way it's set up. Well, a lot of towns are not gonna get traffic tickets written in it. Boylston, you'd be almost no tickets.
Right. If
And
they don't
you
write tickets, you can't generate.
If you don't
income.
write tickets, you don't
Yeah.
get the money. That's the bottom line. The only thing I've heard just yesterday is if a judge has a ticket and the person completes the school and does everything they're supposed to, there's a lack of communication from that to him. So the judge might hold the ticket for 3 months, and nobody's telling him, dismiss it, no nothing. So there's a breakdown in communications of when the ticket is satisfied. If you'll say you paid the money, you did everything, so he's got your ticket sitting there. He don't know what to do with it. He said, I've been keeping them for 4 months. Then to come find out they went through that class and it's been dismissed, but we're not getting that.
So it's not getting to the courts, what you're saying. Well, again, this is a conversation we should have next month when
Yeah.
Tony comes in, or we can talk to him before he
That's
gets here
okay.
and try and get that answer.
I just
Having
have one,
this conversation now without him
Right.
available doesn't really make a heck of a lot of sense.
okay, I just have one
Will you
other.
hear the issue? Go ahead, Frank.
I just have one other issue. I mean, not an issue, but a concern and some information. I see that, the city of Oswego mayor is here and the city, Oswego chief of police is here. I was just wondering if the city of Fulton had gotten the same notification and invite
Yes,
to come
they
to this
did.
thing. And they
They were
didn't,
notified.
they did not go back to us. Okay.
I believe
that's
the
it.
mayor responded that he would be here for the tour,
Okay.
which might be showing up a little bit later. Might not wanna
Okay.
sit through this. Okay, that was the email. that
Is the
was
mayor
sent.
here?
Oh, is he here? Oh, welcome. We didn't see you come in.
I come in late.
There you go.
Okay, all right, good enough. That's
Any
all right.
any other
That's what I'm
information?
concerned
Any
about.
other-
Thank you.
Look for the appropriate motion then? All right, meeting adjourned. Let's go, let's go see the first.
Hey, John. I need budget.
Hey, Kevin, I got a question before you disappear into the tour. I was just wondering if you had any information. Huh? Oh. Yes, Mr. Attorney, just right like rats up. Do you know anything about that 6-car accident on 264? There was nobody really hurt, was there? Okay.
It wasn't fatal, I don't think much.
Okay, well, see, it's so close to me, I've had so many calls, and I'm like, well, I thought maybe somebody knows something about it.